Hi, it's Stacy with So Steady, and we're back. We do have an echo.
We do.
I hear the echo. All right, well, we are back. We're super excited to launch into Ranges Blocks 9 and 10. I'm going to resolve the echo while we have Mendy take us over to the cutting table to get started.
Okay. I thought I'd start off by showing you the end result of 7. This is Cinnamon Bells, and this is after we did all of the cutting out. And then, and I think this is the one where there was controversy about where to stop. And I apologize because I don't think I was in the middle of doing everything and I didn't really stop and listen. But bottom line is, what I do is I go ahead and cut it down. Any stitching that's just hanging out there loose, I go ahead and cut away. So I actually have that without the extra stitching going all the way to the end. Okay, and then on block, what was it, 8? This is called that Hyacinth Orchid, and that's where we did the templates going the opposite directions. This kind of looks Asian to me, and here's the end result on that block. Okay, so now let's go ahead and move on to this week. We're going to be doing blocks 9 and 10. 9 is called Blanket Leaf, and the fabric she uses is very light. We are going to be using the circle on quilts to do an inner circle. We'll be quilting inside the circle and outside the circle. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so let's go ahead and mark our 24 points here.
I'm going to change this, sorry.
Using the chalk here on my 24-point crosshair square. This was previously marked, but as you know, if you've been watching me, the chalk comes off very quickly. You've been rotating around multiple times, so I'm gonna redo the. You want my light, Stace? Okay, so now we'll go ahead and move on to the sewing machine. Okay, so let's take our circle on quilts and our Tacoma Canada templates here. We need to switch the camera. All right, and I did take a look before we went on the air, and I decided because this is a smaller block, we're going to do a 2 and a 3-inch circle. So we're going to be using our Circle and Quilts tool, which looks like fingers. Just going to stick it right in here.
Sound is still bad. Let me see if I can do this. How does that sound now, everyone?
Red. Okay. Here. Put the foot down. All right, and the secret to success with the circle on quilts is that you're always going to lean one direction or the other. It doesn't matter whether you lean what I'll call down or up, right or left, whatever you want to call it. But whatever you decide to do, be consistent. That way your circles will come out perfect every time. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started here. I'm going to lean towards me, okay? So not against the edge there, but towards me. And actually, I'm going to be, let me look at the picture again. That's not going to work because the I've got to make the circle first. So let's take this off and get the circle, the T1 that we've been using. All right, here we go. So let's go ahead and start there. Okay. Around here. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and my circle on quilts. Actually, I'm going to bring up my needle and I'm going to break thread here. Now I'm going to go ahead and get my circle again. I'm going to have to do it 3 and 4 because 2 is the, or 4 and 5, I'm sorry, 4 and 5. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. Right here, we're going to start, put our foot down, needle up, foot up, bring up our bobbin thread. There it is. Okay, now we're going to put the foot down. I'm going to turn it around so you can see it better. And once again, I'm going to lean towards me. I'm going to get that out of the way so it doesn't get in our circle.
You just have to talk a little bit louder today.
Oh, okay. So I'm not mumbling?
Yeah.
All
You're
right.
kind of talking to yourself a lot.
Sorry.
But we want you to be talking to a group.
Well, you know, honestly, without an audience, I talk to myself a lot.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. So you're just going to stop at the end and just turn the template. So we're always going to stay in that arm. Once again, always leaning towards yourself or towards the other way, whatever you decide.
You're whispering again. You're whispering.
Who knew that was that quiet? All right, so this is going to, and there's no magic to the size of the circle that you're that you're sewing. This is personal choice. It's whatever you want to do. Because this is a smaller block, I've opted to go with a smaller circle, okay? Just let me get myself back threaded here. Sorry, folks. It came out of the, there we go. Out of its hole there. Okay. Put down. It's better that way. Okay. So now we're going to do a second circle. And what I want to see is how much of the clamshell are we going to get on our first one if we go smaller. And it looks to me like I need to go bigger, because you can see I'm going to start right there and I'm going to get 1.5. If I go smaller than that, I'm just going to even have 1 in there. So I'm going to go to the 6-inch circle next. So we're going to take the other circle on quilts, and we're going to do one's odd and one's even. That's why you have 2 sets here, or 2 templates here. So let's go ahead and bring that up here. That's super long. We don't need it that long. Okay. So we're just going to go ahead. I like to start in different places on the square so that I just don't have all my starts and stops in the same place. Okay, bring that up. Let's go ahead and bring up our bobbin thread again. There it is. Okay, come back here. Put the foot down and the needle down. There we go. Let's get these out of the way again. All right. I don't want to get those threads in my pattern. So, yeah. There we go. All right. Once again, pushing towards me so that I make sure that that circle comes out perfect. Round and round we go. And let me get those threads again. So I just knead up. Okay, now we're done with our circles. So let's go ahead and break thread again. And we're going to go ahead and now get our T1 on here. Get these templates out of the way so that we can do what we need to do here. Okay. So as you know, whenever I'm working with these templates, I like to work counterclockwise. I just find that I match up better when I do that. So we're going to start with the inner circle. Put our foot down, and we're going to put our needle down, needle up. Once again, bring up the bobbin thread. Okay, bring it back there. We're going to have lots of thread to bury on this one. Okay, so now we're just going to go around and do the inner clamshells on this, and then we're going to come back and do the outer ones, because we're only quilting to the or using our rulers to the stitching on the circle. All right, now we're going to come back here. Let me see which one I want to do here. There we go. So I've got to, I'm going to want to be there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to follow my circle line. And this takes a little practice, but if you go slow, it works perfect every time. Okay. Now we're going to go back to our T1. There I am. I'm going to line it up right. So I'm going to come back here. All right, there we go. And now I'm going to follow this circle, but that's up against the template, so it's not quite so scary. All right, now we're just going to flip to a T2, and we're going to bring it right there. Is that right? Nope, it's right there. Okay, so we're going to just follow our circle again. Now we're going to come back down here. Okay. Get our T1 again. All right. Just go slow enough that you can actually really stop on that, on your stitch line of the circle. Here we go. Now we're right. I'm going to come back up here. Okay. T1 again. There. Okay. There we are. Okay.
Someone asked, couldn't you do a jump stitch and continue on with the same template to the outside and then go back to the next template, back to the center, doing again a jump stitch to get to the inner circle?
Well, yes, you could. I prefer not to have the stitching open. I want to close every single one, so I prefer to do it this way.
This is really cool.
Okay. That's the beauty of this, is that, you know, if you find a way that works for you, for instance, Leonie shows using these clockwise. I find that they line up better for me when I use them counterclockwise. The result is the same. So, you know, we always encourage people to do whatever works for them. And if that's a modification of the design or in the way that you accomplish the end result, so be it. That's awesome. Get those stitches out of there. Okay, I'm going to take this up here. this out of there. And that one's going to be right there. Okay, there we go. I'm going to take that up because I'll be stitching over that. Okay. Okay, get some of these threads out of our way. We're closing in on it. Remember that T1 is always going out and T2 is always going back towards the inner circle. Wait a minute, let me make sure that's right. I think I'm not. No, I need to be right there. Yeah, I got ahead of myself. Okay. Be right there. Any questions, Stace?
Someone said that they got their Tacoma templates and can't wait to start practicing.
Oh, good.
They're very happy that we're sharing these classes with them.
There. I think I'm right there. Yeah. There we go. Okay, this should be the last one. All right. So let's go ahead and bring our needle up and clip our threads again. So now we've done the quilting on the inner circle. Now we're going to go to the outer circle. So once again, we're going to start with our T1. And the only trick that I would tell you here is that you want to make sure that you're using your T1 on the same path that we did the first one on, and you'll be able to tell that when you put your template in place. So let me show you what I'm talking about there. If I can get all these threads out of the way. Maybe we'll go someplace where there's less threads. How about that? Magic to where we start. Okay, so let's put this on here. Now you can see that this is the right path for the clamshells on the T1. So that's where I want to make sure I start with the outer circle. Okay, so we're going to come here now, and we're going to put our foot down, and we're going to put our needle, and I want to make sure that needle goes right into my stitch mark on the outer circle. So there we go. We're going to bring that up, bring that up, bring our bobbin thread up again. For whatever reason, the bobbin doesn't like to come up today. It's shy. I don't know. Let's put that down. Okay. So there's my starting point right there. Once again, I just want to make sure that my needle comes down on my stitch line, not inside of it, not outside of it, but on it. Okay. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and let's see, what's the best way for you guys to see this and for me to see it? Maybe this way. All right, so now we're just going to go into this. Okay, now we're going to take our let's cut this way back. We don't need that much. And now we're going to take our T2, just right here. And we're going to come back right there. So we're going to climb down here. Okay, I don't think you guys can see that. I certainly can't, but let's do it this way. Here we go. And once again, you're going to stop right on that stitch line. So I went a little past it. I just bring up my needle and get it right on there. Okay, so now we're going to go on to the T1 again. And my marking is right there. Right there. Okay. Here we go. just travel along that outer circle again till you hit the template. Okay, and we're going to take this and bring it down here, get it in place, travel along the edge of the block. On point. Perfect. All right. This back here. Gonna get that right there. Follow along the stitch line again. Bring this here. Okay. Follow along down here. I'll turn this around again so you can see. So I'm always making sure my reference line on the template is on my reference line on the fabric. Okay. Now there we go. I'm just going to follow the circle. Early on, I think it was in the Quilt As You Go quilt. Leonie does a lot of back stitching on your stitch line, and it is really helpful to get comfortable doing that in a lot of the designs that we use with the templates. So it's not something that you just have to get comfortable and just go really slow when you do it. All right, here we go. We'll trim this now so you can see. All right, there we go. Okay. Turn it. So we're just gonna walk right over here. Maybe I can see it this way this time. All right, nope, I gotta be over here. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna walk over to the template now because this is kind of on the corner. There we go. All this outer edge wanderings will be cut down or cut off when we cut it down. Now there I went a little bit over, so I'm just going to raise the needle and get it right back where I want it. There we go. All right. And we're going to be right there. Almost dropped it. Okay, so we're going to be right there now. All right, now I'll turn it so you can see. There we go. And there. I wear glasses, so I do find that frequently I have to take a minute to push them back up on my nose so I can really see on this fine work here where my needle is hitting. I tried to get contacts, but I could get them in, but I couldn't get them out. So it was a bit of a problem. So I'm stuck with glasses. All right, here we go. Let me take a minute to get that one out of the way. There we go. Okay. Right there. Okay. Now, see it. I can't see it. Put it on if I can't see it. There we go. All right, so we're going to get it lined up right there. So we're just going to walk the foot down here. All right. Okay. I have two little Havanese well, I call them pups, they're 13. And they love my sewing room. So every time we do a Facebook Live, they're in here. And one in particular falls asleep and snores. So I always feel like I'm not probably very entertaining because she's certainly conked out. But very relaxed. Stacia awfully quiet today.
Oh, you're just taking care of business.
All right, here we go. Just bring it up and just nudge it a little bit there. There. Okay. And we're going to be right there.
It looks like people are slowly finding us here.
Okay, let me bring that back around. Do they know what happened?
I just explained that Facebook isn't liking StreamYard right now, or so the So Steady page isn't.
Right. Excuse me. All right, so we're just going to follow this circle right now. As soon as I hit that template, I can go. All right, so now this is our last time around. So let's go ahead and we're just going to bring it down here. Okay, we're going to turn it this way so you have a better view. And here we go. Okay. And now I'm going to go ahead and follow that circle to this other set of thread right here. So at least that's one less spot that I've got to. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring our thread up, foot up, cut our thread, and this block is done. So we did a 5 and a 6 inch circle. We quilted inside the circle and then outside the circle. Let me show you what this looks like because I did it previously on my big blocks. So this is the blanket leaf,
Oh, let me get you up there. You're showing us.
okay?
The big block.
This is the big block.
Oh, I love it.
And there's my circle. There's my cutouts inside the circle. And this one we are going to cut off the center, and then we just extend that out around.
So do you want to show them your cutting plan, but maybe not cut everything?
Sure. Let's get this here. I've got my chart part here. And I do find it really hard to see this particular fabric picture. It's super light. But the bottom line is we're just cutting in the every other one pattern that we have in the past. Let me get the...
So how will you clean up the sides that don't have the stitching? Because you're going to cut that down significantly, right?
Well, it's 14 inches right now, and I think we're cutting it down to 12 and a half.
Okay.
So this all will have stitching.
Yeah. Perfect.
Okay.
And there was a suggestion if you're using the smaller rulers, and then you could go down to 11 and really cut out anything that would appear to not be quite part of the stitch. So 12
I
and a half
haven't
or
tested
11.
that. I don't know that. So, okay. So we're going to do every other one. And let me see if I can tell here if there's a preference to one or the other. We're just going to pick the preference here. So I'm not going to do the partial. So I'm going to do the big ones. So we're going to do every other one. And I do highly recommend that you do this on your blocks, meaning ahead of time, mark what you're cutting, because the cutting is a separate process, as you probably gathered, and oftentimes it involves wine and television. And that could be deadly to cutting the wrong area if you haven't previously marked it. All right, so here we go. And there we are. And then we'll do the same on the inside, but I think you have the idea. We would be cutting here.
Okay, so for the cutting, do you need to use the template fuse?
You have to use the template fuse on the whole, yeah, on any template process that we're doing. You always want the fusible, and you do not want to touch it with the iron until you are completely done with your cutting.
Someone asked if you speak for experience.
Yes, I do. The way that I learned template was Leonie handed me a stack and said, here, cut these out. And the first thing I did was iron them. So that didn't work out so good for me. All right. So you get it. You understand how to do this. All right. So let's go ahead and move on to our next one. Let me put this with this and put that over there. And now we are going to, where's my book? There it is. Okay, so next we're going to go to number 10. And this one, I'm trying to remember me doing this one. All right, sawtooth shown in red. So can be quilted in different positions using different sections of the template. See next page for instruction. Okay, so what we're going to do, well, that's right. Okay, so we're just going to go back and forth around in this circle. And Step one is quilt block, block 1, Ferndale. So let's go back to Ferndale. Block 1, that's like 10 blocks ago now, right? So Ferndale is we're just going around like we always do in a big circle, and then step 2 is when you use excuse me, Tacoma 1 and 2, and what we're going to be doing is creating that little bow tie, if you will, on some of these designs on the outside. All right, so let's go ahead and get started here. Excuse me, I need some water. Here it is. All right, so let me get my put my thumbtack in the middle here. Flip it over and put it back in. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and put this on here. Doesn't seem quite centered. Let's see here. Where's my center? One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're going to put this right there, right there. Okay. This was previously a marked block, but it wasn't centered. My husband helped me. I won't tell him. Okay, just going to mark my center here.
Someone asked, how long would you take to cut out one of those? Like the one you just
It depends on the intricacy, but for instance, the one that we just did, that might take, probably 40 minutes.
Okay.
All right, so now let's get that thumbtack back here. And we're going to put it in right there and turn it around. Get it back in here and right there. Okay, let's go ahead and do this thing. All right, so we're going to start with T1 as always. I like to just start at the base here where the line goes straight down. We're going to, oops, let's go ahead. We'll just start this way this time. No, doesn't matter. Okay, needle up, needle down, bring it up, bring up our bottom thread. And we're just going to go around and make our circle in the middle there. You don't do that on every single block, but on most of them.
asked if you usually use matching or contrasting thread.
Well, you would have seen both. On the yellow, I'm using matching thread, and on this one, I'm using contrasting. It depends on what your goal is. I like to have the template be the star of the show. So on the yellow one, I use the matching thread so that it's a little dramatic when you have the cutouts. But for doing it on video and teaching, you can't even see the stitching to really get a feel for what we're doing unless the thread is contrasting. So it's really up to you and what you want it to look like. But I've done both ways, clearly. All right, we're just going to travel down here. I'm going to flip this around so you can see it. Where am I at here? Oh, it came off. I'm going, that's not lining up. It wasn't on the pin. I do like to have contrasting thread on the back because it's not any of the cutouts there. And so it's kind of nice to have the quilting be the star of the show. Oh, I have thread problems, folks. Hold on 1 minute. What's going on here?
For goodness.
Let's go ahead and...
Sorry, everyone. We missed some of your sewing. I was so focused on this other job I'm doing.
Oh, multitasking, are we?
And there's very little camera movement today, but sometimes that gets me.
Let's see if my bobbin's about them. Sometimes this machine doesn't tell me when my bobbin's done. It just decides to act up. And it looks like I've got a little bit left, but let's just change that too. Yeah, there's some stuff going on there. Okay, let's get another bobbin here. There we go. Alrighty. Now, Stace, next week we're probably going to need to change the date or postpone.
Oh, another one?
Well, it's my birthday, and I've got to be down in Ashland.
That is your birthday. All right, so that'll give us another week to fix the problem with Facebook too. And that should put us right on target to finishing at the end of June. And no more.
Oh, life gets in the way. Now that we're not completely quarantined, you expect me to stay home all the time?
Ladies, she is trying to be retired. And so we have her do these. And then she gets in trouble from my dad because he's saying that she's supposed to be retired. So when you go back to it, maybe you can explain how you started over again.
All right, let me get it back where all right, because the pin is holding this in place, I can put this right where I was. So my reference line on my template is on my reference line there, and I see where my stitching quit. So what I'm going to do is come right over here at the base of this other clamshell, and I'm going to bring my threads up. So let's bring that down, bring that up, and then bring up a foot. All right, so I'm going to bring up the bobbin thread right there, and that's where I'm going to start again. So put that down, and then make sure I'm back where I need to be. Okay, there we go. All right, so now we're just going to finish that row there. And this kind of hangs you out because now we're going to change over to the T1. And when I get this in position's right here, which is at the top of the little one. So what I like to do is just kind of come back up here and make it look like a clamshell, and then follow the edge of the template to the inside of that first clamshell, and then start. Okay. Now we're going to put this in here. Turn this around so I can see where I should be, which is right there. Let's bring it around this way maybe. So I've got my template on there. So we're just going to kind of go along the edge here until we hit this. And then come down. All right. Once again, we're just going to kind of go up here. Put T1 back on here. And come back over here. We were just talking about contrasting thread. Now here's where it's to your detriment because my machine is still acting up a little bit with the thread. And so you can see that I have a little clump there. So if that's in one of my cutouts, I can fix that. But if I had the same color thread, you wouldn't even see it. All right, so let's bring this around now. That's going to be where we're at. So now we're just going to crawl down here. And we're going to get T1 back on here and get it lined up. Follow the template.
Someone asked why you're going anti-clockwise.
I find that that's the way I like it. You can do it either way, but I like how it lines up when I'm going around better. I don't have to fuss trying to get into the right position this way. Okay, so I'm going to be right there. But it doesn't matter. You can go either direction. one little hole and they always find it. Okay, so that's where my template's gonna be. Like that. There. So we're just going to crawl down here till we hit this template. Make sure that's on before we get started there. Okay, there we go. Let's turn it around so you can see it. How about that?
Someone said, hi from Melbourne, Australia. I'm enjoying sewing along with you.
Oh, good. All right, here we go. Now we're going to go ahead and get this lined up again. And in my case, I've got a lot of lines because my husband was helping me. So I am going to make sure which one is the right line right now. This is my spacing gauge. I'm going to be spacing exactly 1/4 of an inch off the edge of the template, so that's the right one. Perfect. All right. And around here, this one on here. Okay, so let's come down here.
Is this Tacoma 12 or 18?
This is the 12-inch because we're doing the smaller blocks on this one. I'm using the 18-inch on the yellow quilt that I'm making.
So you'll be able to see both today.
Oh, come on. There we go. Okay, here we go.
What size of the finished quilt if we do the entire quilt adding to my order? LOL.
What now?
What size it does the finished quilt if they do the entire one?
It's in the book. You
Okay,
can look it up right here.
check the book, ladies. So if you use the 12.5-inch blocks, so this is based on the 15.5-inch blocks, though, right?
I believe so, yes.
So the book is based on a finished block size says 25 blocks designing for quilting and template quilting. Quilt measure 77 by 77. I'm just double checking.
But I think that's for the larger block sizes.
See fabric requirements. Okay, all blocks in this book are finished 15 by 15 squares. So that would be using the 18-inch blocks or 18-inch Tacoma 18. All the blocks in this quilt can be quilted using the 18-inch Tacoma templates. She said, I really like to use the 12-inch when quilting smaller blocks and for smaller areas where I can. So this would be using the 18-inch Tacoma templates with a finished block size of 15 by 15 to create a 77 by 77 quilt. Mendy will have both. She'll have a finished quilt at 77 by 77. And then she'll also have a finished quilt.
I'm doing the 25 block quilt.
Yeah, that's going to be both though, because you are doing one that's 15 by 15 blocks.
Correct.
And then you're doing the other that is going to end up being 12 by 12 blocks.
Correct.
So that one will be smaller. Stay tuned on the finished size.
You're good at math, can't you figure that out?
Well, then we have to add in the sashing and it just gets so complicated. What size of sashing are you going to be doing?
Probably 1 inch.
So she added 2 inches across for sashing on this one. So if we did the same on that one, then we would do 12, 24, 36, 48, 60. So it would be a 62 by 62 finish size. If your finished squares are 12-inch squares. She asked next, could the quilt be done with just one size of the Tacoma? 12 or 18?
Yes, you could use the 18-inch on the smaller fabric. But I agree with Leonie that there are times when it's just simply easier to use the 12-inch, especially when you're doing the smaller ones. The 18-inch, I've got big machines. I've got a Baby Lock Altair and an M7, and the 18-inch is pretty wieldy in terms of just getting it, because you've got to go in circles around this. So there's times whenever the template is coming off of the table, and because it's on a pin, that's a problem, because the center, because you're with the T2, you're working from the outside to the center, right? And so you have to be very careful with the 18-inch to make sure that everything is on the table while you're sewing. Otherwise, you do have issues with keeping the template and the pin connected, because it's all circular. But I do love the 18-inch because you can, on a big block, you can cover a lot of territory with just, one template. But the 12-inch is definitely easier to use. In my opinion. Okay, so here we go, guys. And, oops, wrong one. I started to put T1 back on there, and that would not work. Okay, here we go. And here.
Someone asked, is there a way to hold the dang pin in place?
We do have a pin more that you could stick over the top that would keep it potentially in place. I just don't have one.
We also have, depending on what size of thickness of templates you got, we do have what we call pin locks that you can order that are just these black discs that lock onto the pen and kind of keep it in place. We really only send them in for long arm frame use when you're doing these rulers on a frame. But it is available and you can just buy them separate if you want them.
And I think in that particular case, Stacy, with the 18-inch, that would be helpful.
Oh yeah?
Because like I said, I'm on big machines, and it is challenging sometimes to keep it all together.
So your pen is kind of wanting to fly off.
Well, because you're working from the outside in on the T2.
Okay.
So yeah, normally if you're working from the inside out or from the center out, it's no problem. But when you're on the outside of the block working to the center, then depending upon the angle that you're sewing from, you can be off of your machine, off the table.
Someone said she ended up putting a pencil eraser on the tip. That's
Oh.
perfect.
That is perfect.
Yeah. We don't have to buy fancy things. You can just use household items.
Gosh, dang it. I did it again. I'm going, no, this is correct. Never mind.
Someone asked if this template can be used to do clamshells also.
Yeah, yes. Different sizes unless you just want to use one hump.
Yeah, which is possible.
Uh-huh.
We do have a multi-arc template that is a one hump, if you will, clamshell. And so, yeah, absolutely. It would give you multiple sizes of clamshells. Now the line markings are going to be slanted, so it would be hard to use anything but the baseline. Does that make sense? Because the clamshell line markings are normally straight, and these are slanted to go with these are slanted to be able to angle with the crosshair markings on a spinning design. So it wouldn't have the same effect that a normal clamshell with straight lines across. Maybe show them how they're slanted again, Mom.
How they're slanted?
Yeah, the line markings on there.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You can see that because these are meant to go circular, so you can see that this one is straight, but the others are slanted at an angle as you would go around in a circle.
Yeah.
All right, folks, so now we've done the basic, go around the very first block we did, Ferndale. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take these and we're going to create Stacey, can I have the block or the book, please?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so let's get back. I think this is block 10. Let's go back to the instructions. Okay, so what we're going to do, we want to be creating this little, I'll call bow tie right there, okay? So we're going to be taking and going in the other direction. So now we're going to take it this way. Let's see if we can see where we would be doing that. Yeah, so right there. So we're going to be taking this and going down to there, and then we're going to be doing the T1 or T2 and going up to there. So let's go ahead and just get started like that. Okay, so we're going to come up here and start right there. Put our foot down, needle up, and bring up our bobbin thread. Okay, let's go ahead, put that down, get our needle back in place, and here we go. Okay, and we're going to take this one, and we're still going this way. So now we're going to come up here. Okay. So you're just swapping back and forth on these. Just a little bit too far there. Here we go. Okay. Now we're going to come back here.
Correct. All FOF machines, we recommend a low shank template. Do you want to repeat that for me?
All FOF machines we recommend a low shank template for. It's all up here now. Okay. If my pin was a little longer, like the long arm pin, but it's not flat on the bottom, so that wouldn't hurt. But if the pin was a little longer, you could have both these templates on there and just flip them back and forth. Probably wouldn't work that great, but hey. Oh, now there's a perfect case. I was talking and I went the wrong direction when I shouldn't have. Because see how I'm keeping high on all of my little bow ties? And then I should have gone up here. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring this up, bring my foot up. Just going to cut thread. And
Someone asked if that's true for the FOF mid arm too. And I would say if you're referring to like a sit down quilting machine, then no. That is not true.
okay, guys, so I'm coming back to where I should have been, putting my foot down, putting my needle down, needle up, bring up my bobbin thread there, and then I'll come back and take that error stitch out. Let's get up there. But that's why it's hard to talk and look at the same time here. Because it's easy to go in the wrong direction. Okay. Now we're coming down. And that's usually the mantra I have is I'm going down, I'm going up, I'm going down, I'm going up. My grandchildren accuse me of talking to myself a lot. I think they're probably right. What do you think, Stace?
Probably.
You should have said, no, Mom. They're wrong. And this will be the last one. Okay, so there we are. So if we take a look, where's my book? All right, so we're just doing that one. So it's just the one bow tie around the outer edge, and then we're gonna just take every other one that's right beneath where it comes down, where the bow ties come down, where the knot would be in the bow tie. That's where you're gonna do your cutout. So let's go ahead and go back over here and I'll mark it. And this one, we're not doing anything in the center.
And show us, did you already cut out the other one?
I did.
Let's show us that.
All right. So that one is 10. That's this one right here. So this is that one done.
Love it.
So here's your bow tie, and
So
then
what are
there's
your
your
tips
cutout.
for cutting?
Just go, you have your sharpest scissors, go very
Or I
slow.
should say for marking and planning.
Oh, marking. Well, clearly you're going to mark every bow tie that you just did, and then it's just the one right below where the knot would be on the bow tie. Okay,
Okay.
that's where you're going to do it,
Excellent.
and that's it for today, folks.
A couple of additional questions. Someone said, what other threads or thread weight work well for doing ruler work?
Well, basically, you can use any thread or thread weight. You just have to get your machine happy with it. Beginning, I used a 90-14 needle and a 50 weight thread, cotton thread. But since then, I have ventured out into poly cotton, glide with polyester. It just, you can literally do, I use metallic threads. It's really anything that you want to do. You just have to make sure that you and your machine are happy with, the right needle, right thread combination.
Okay. And then someone asked, the bow ties are close to the edge. Are they going to show when you trim the block?
Yes, I've already trimmed this down to 14-inch. So this is going to be right at the edge of the block. You can make your bow ties farther in if you want. That's just not what the design was. But once again, you can do whatever you want. The process is the same whether you go on the outer edge or you go into this one. You know, it's still the same idea.
You find that circle.
Uh-huh.
It is interesting though how it kind of makes a circle on the outside,
Mm-hmm.
as I don't see the circle as much on the inside.
Yeah, it's there.
I don't see it. All right. Well, thanks everybody. You have a wonderful weekend, and we'll look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks. Mendy has officially decided she's taking her birthday and going to go see her family instead of doing this. Nothing personal. We'll see you in 2 weeks, and hopefully it'll be back on the So Steady page or YouTube. We'll make sure to let you know where we're going to be. Have a wonderful day.
All right. Bye, guys.
Oh, someone had one last question. Since this quilt is Quilt As You Go, how do you join?
Sashing.
We're going to use Sashly, or do you have another technique?
Sashly.
We'll use the Sashly template, which is a really cool tool that Leonie West created. So it's in the Wesley Design template line. You can get it from any of our participating resellers or have it shipped to the store for free if you're in the United States on our site. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.
Bye, guys.